Now with over 700 Pokemon, nearly everyone's top 10 favorite Pokemon list is slightly different. What is up, my tough trainers? I'm Lance, and now that I've counted down my top 10 favorite Pokemon of every type, today I'll be counting down my top 10 favorite Pokemon, which is something heavily requested. Now, as usual, this list is going to be 100% opinion based, which means if you don't agree with any of my top 10 favorite Pokemon, feel free to go ahead and let me know some of your favorites in the comment section below. And before I get started with this video, if you guys could hit that like button for me, that would be very much appreciated, because a lot of work has already gone into this video. Now let's go ahead and get into this list. Kicking off this list today at number 10, we have got Gengar. I've used Gengar a lot in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and competitive battling, and I've just started using it in my Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver Randomizer Nuzlocke versus. Gengar gets the ability Levitate, which is good because it's part poison, and it also has great special attack and speed, which is one of the reasons I like it so much. I like to run it in competitive battling with moves such as Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Sludge Bomb, Dark Pulse, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball, and Dazzling Gleam, but I've also seen some people use it with Hypnosis, Disable, and Substitute, and I'm sure that would work pretty well. I like to give it either the Expert Belt or the Life Orb, but I do see some people run it with Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, which I'm sure would also work. Gengar has a Mega Evolution with the ability Shadow Tag, which is a great ability, and because of Shadow Tag it works well with Destiny Bond and Perish Song. When Gengar Mega Evolves, it gets a big increase to its special attack and a fairly big increase to its speed. And one of the main reasons I really like Gengar is because I think it has a really cool looking design. I really like the look of its eyes, and I really like the look of its smile, even though its smile does look very creepy. And I also really like the look of Mega Gengar, but to be honest, I do prefer the look of regular Gengar. At number 9, we've got Meganium that I've used in Pokemon Heart Gold and competitive battling. I remember the day Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, and I was at my friend's house for a sleepover. There were heaps of guys there, and I was one of the only people without Heart Gold or Soul Silver, because I was planning on getting it the next day. I was watching everyone play, and nearly everyone wanted to choose Cyndaquil or Totodile as their starter Pokemon, and out of the 14 boys who had the game, only about 1 or 2 chose Chikorita. As soon as I got the game, I wanted to choose Chikorita to see why no one wanted to choose it, and I don't regret choosing Chikorita the first time I played. I really enjoyed using Meganium in-game, and to this day I think it's one of the most underrated Pokemon ever. Meganium has a good base defense and special defense of 100 with pretty good special attack and physical attack as well. It is very good in competitive battling with Aromatherapy, Leech Seed, Synthesis, Giga Drain, Dragon Tail, Energy Ball, Reflect, and Toxic, and probably works best with the leftovers. I think Meganium has a really cool looking design, and I really like the look of the pink petals that go all around its neck. At number 8 today, we've got Darkrai, one of my favourite legendary Pokemon that I've used in Heart Gold and competitive battling. Soon after Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, when I was at one of my friend's houses with a group of friends, my friend said he found a way to hack any Pokemon he wanted into his game. My friends and I all thought that was amazing, and he said he would hack 2 Pokemon of our choice into our games for us because it took quite a while to do. So I chose to have Arceus and Darkrai. After I got Darkrai into my game, Pokemon Heart Gold became really easy, but I still really enjoyed using Darkrai. In my opinion, Darkrai is one of the best Pokemon in Ubers at the moment because it has a great speed stat of base 125 and a great special attack stat of 135. On top of that, it gets the ability Bad Dreams, which means when your foe is asleep, they will lose a little bit of their health at the end of every turn, and because of that ability, Darkrai works really well with the move Dark Void. I also like to use Darkrai with Nightmare, Dream Eater, Dark Pulse, and the leftovers. Darkrai can also be good with Nasty Plot, Trick, Focus Blast, Ice Beam, and Taunt, but I think going with Dark Void and Nightmare is the way to go. I think Darkrai has a great design and looks really scary, and it's one of those Pokemon you definitely wouldn't want to meet in real life. At number 7, we've got Venusaur, who I've used in Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon X, and competitive battling. Venusaur always used to be my least favourite Kanto starter Pokemon until I finally decided to try its new Mega Evolution. Mega Venusaur has great defense, special defense, and speed, and gets the ability Thick Fat, which means it takes half as much damage as it usually would from fire and ice type attacks, so that weakens 2 of its biggest weaknesses. I like to use Mega Venusaur with Leech Seed, Sleep Powder, Synthesis, Giga Drain, Sludge Bomb, and Toxic. And out of every Mega Evolution, Mega Venusaur is my favourite just because of how bulky it is and how good it is in competitive battling. I think regular Venusaur looks okay, but Mega Venusaur looks quite a bit better, so that's why Venusaur is on this list. At number 6, we've got Blastoise, who I've used in Pokemon Fire Red, Pokemon X, and competitive battling. Blastoise is currently my favourite Kanto starter Pokemon, and it has great defense, special defense with pretty good special attack. It works well with Rapid Spin, Scald, Toxic, Roar, and Dragon Tail, and I like to use it with max speed and the Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, with Water Spout because that sometimes can work well and you can sometimes sweep with that. Blastoise has Mega Evolution with the ability Mega Launcher, and because of that ability it works well with Water Pulse, Dragon Pulse and Dark Pulse. I think Blastoise has a great looking design with the huge shell on its back with these big cannons coming out of it, but I think Mega Blastoise looks even better with one huge cannon above its head with 2 cannons attached to its arms. And out of every Mega Evolution, Blastoise has my favourite design and is my second favourite Mega Evolution overall, just after Mega Venusaur. At number 5 we've got Victini, who I've used in Pokemon Black and competitive battling. Victini was my first ever event Pokemon, and I remember going into my local EB Games to get it. EB Games is like the equivalent of GameStop if you didn't know. Victini is currently my favourite legendary Pokemon. It gets the ability Victory Star, which is decent, and all of its stats are base 100, which is pretty good. It's usually run with physical attacks, but it can be special or mixed. It gets the amazing move V-Create with 180 base power and 95% accuracy, which does lower your defense, special defense, and speed slightly. And I like to run Victini with V-Create, Bolt Strike, U-Turn, and Zen Headbutt with the White Herb. But when it is run with special attacks, it does work well with Blue Flare, Psychic, Grass Knot, and Focus Blast. And I think it has a pretty cool looking design with cool looking eyes and ears that make a really cool looking V shape, which is where I think the name V-Create comes from. At number 4 we've got Torterra, who I've used a lot in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum and competitive battling. Torterra gets the ability Shell Armor, which means it can't be hit by a critical hit, which also means if you can get yourself a Torterra with Shell Armor, it will be great for a Nuzlocke. Torterra has pretty good attack and defense with decent HP and special defense, and unfortunately it does have a 4 times weakness to ice. Torterra has a lot of moves it can work well with, including Wood Hammer, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Toxic, Seed Bomb, Leech Seed, Synthesis, Curse, Steel Rock, and Superpower. I think Torterra has a great looking design with one huge tree on its back, 3 spikes off to the side, and one fairly long looking tail. At number 3 we've got Infernape, who I've used a lot in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum and competitive battling, just like Torterra. One of the main reasons I really like Infernape was because Infernape was in my team the very first time I beat the champion in a Pokemon game, which was in Pokemon Pearl. The first time I played Pokemon, I chose Piplup as my starter Pokemon, but due to the lack of Fire-type Pokemon in Diamond and Pearl, I decided to restart and choose Chimchar. I've also used Infernape a little bit in Pokemon Heart Gold, and it has a good physical and special attack of base 104, with good speed of base 108. It works well with a Focus Sash due to its average defense, and it gets the ability Iron Fist, which helps it out a little bit. Because of Iron Fist, it does work well with Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, and Mach Punch, and I also think it works well with Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Close Combat, Fake Out, Steel Rock, and especially Overheat, because with Overheat you can get off a very strong special attack, and if your special attack falls and all your other attacks are physical, why does it matter? I think Infernape has a great looking design, and I really like the look of the flame that comes off the top of its head. At number 2 we've got Drifblim, who I've used quite a bit in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum and competitive battling. I wanted to use Drifblim in game because nearly everyone I knew was using Staraptor, so I wanted to do something different, and as soon as I saw Drifloon at the Valley Windworks, I stopped and thought this is the Pokemon for me, and it became my main flying type. I wanted to make Drifblim as my channel mascot, although it isn't my favourite Pokemon because I've never seen anyone else use it as their mascot, and I wanted to be original. Drifblim has a good special attack stat of base 90 with great HP of base 150. Drifblim can either have Aftermath, Flare Boost or Unburden, which are all pretty good. If you're going to give it Flare Boost, you should probably give it the Flame Orb, but in my opinion, Unburden is its best ability. Drifblim works well with moves like Will-O-Wisp, Destiny Bond, Disable, Shadow Ball, Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Rest if it has a Chesto Berry. But in my opinion, the best moveset for Drifblim, and my favourite moveset for Drifblim, is Endure, Destiny Bond, Shadow Ball, and Psychic with the weakness policy and the ability Unburden. That is because if you can go for the move Endure, you will be certain to take one attack, and if that attack is a super effective attack, weakness policy will take place, and your attack and special attack will raise, and if weakness policy takes place while you have the ability Unburden, your speed will double, and from there it's pretty easy to sweep. The main reason I really like Drifblim is because I think it has an awesome looking design. It looks like a big spooky air balloon, so what is there not to love, and I think it has really cool looking eyes. Before I announce number 1 on this list, I just want to go ahead and go over some special mentions very quickly. So the first special mention I want to give is going to go to Garchomp, who I've used in Pokemon Platinum, Heart Gold and competitive battling. Gets the ability Rough Skin, which is good, and has great physical attack and speed. It works well with Swords Dance, Dragon Claw, Stone Edge, Fire Fang and Earthquake. I think it has a really cool looking design, and Cynthia's Garchomp is definitely an amazing Pokemon which inspired a lot of people to use Garchomp. The second special mention is going to go to Scruffy, who I've used in Pokemon Black and competitive battling, who can have either the ability Intimidate, Moxie or Shed Skin, which are all very good. Scruffy has good defense, special defense and physical attack, and is good with Knockoff, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Dragon Dance, Bulk Up, and Rest, and has a really cool looking design. Special mention number 3 is going to go to Lapras, who I've used in Pokemon Heart Gold, Pokemon X, and competitive battling. Lapras can either have Water Absorb, Shell Armor, or Hydration, which are all good, and Lapras has a great HP stat with pretty good special attack. Lapras is good with Surf, Ice Beam, Frost Breath, Substitute, and Perish Song, and has a good looking design. And I really like it because in the anime it often surfs with people on its back, so it just seems like a really nice and kind Pokemon. Special mention number 4 is going to go to Azumarill, who I've only used in competitive battling. It gets the ability Huge Power, which doubles its attack, which is a great ability, and because of that it works great with Aqua Jet, Waterfall, Superpower, Ice Punch, Play Rough, and Belly Drum. I think Azumarill also looks pretty cool. Special mention number 5 is going to go to Aegislash, who I've used in Pokemon X and competitive battling. Aegislash is one of my favourite Pokemon to use in competitive battling. It gets the ability Stance Change, which means it has 2 forms. In Shield form it has great defense and special defense. In Blade form it has great attack and special attack. It works very well with Sword Stance, Shadow Sneak, King Shield, Sacred Sword, Shadow Ball, and Flash Cannon with the weakness policy, and it has a great looking design with a cool looking shiny form. But anyway, I think that's enough special mentions, so let's go ahead and go to number 1. At number 1 we've got Empoleon, who I've used heaps in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and a little bit in Pokemon Heart Gold, Pokemon Glazed, and competitive battling. Piplup was my first ever Pokemon in-game, and I think Piplup is a very cute Pokemon, which is probably why I wanted to choose it. Out of every Pokemon, I've probably used Empoleon the most in-game, and I remember getting a Prinplup in my first ever pack of Pokemon cards, which might explain why I wanted to choose Piplup. Empoleon can have the ability Defiant, which is a decent ability. Empoleon has good special attack of base 111 with pretty good special defense as well. Empoleon works well with Hydro Pump, Scald, Ice Beam, Stealth Rock, Flash Cannon, Roar, Toxic, Aqua Jet, and Agility, and it is probably best with the leftovers. There is nothing I dislike about Empoleon's design, and out of every Pokemon, Empoleon has my favourite design, and Piplup is the only Pokemon I've bothered trying to get a shiny of via the Masuda method, which I haven't had any luck with yet. But anyway, that is going to be all for this video today. All of the artwork and the music used in this video will be linked in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, and as usual, stay tough.